Bonjour and welcome to Paris, the timeless city of light. Today, we begin an immersive walk through some of the most iconic and historic streets of the French capital. From the Grand Arc de Triomphe, down the legendary Champs-Élysées across the Seine, and ending near a quiet and fascinating military relic, the French classical cannons. As we begin, take in this breathtaking monument towering above us, the Arc de Triomphe. Inaugurated in 1836, it honors soldiers who fought for France. To reach the Champs-Élysées safely, we head down into the pedestrian tunnel. A moment of calm beneath the roaring roundabout. Fun fact: the place, Charles de Gaulle, has 12 avenues, radiating outward like the rays of a star, symbolizing Napoleon's vision of Paris as the heart of a unified empire. As we emerge, prepare yourself. The Avenue des Champs-Élysées stretches ahead, a boulevard that defines elegance, energy, and empire. This grand avenue was laid out in 1667 by Louis1, who also designed the Gardens of Versailles. It was later extended and urbanized in the 18th and 19th centuries to become what we see today, a commercial and cultural artery through the heart of Paris. Look around from flagship stores like Louis Vuitton to cafes like Fouquet, where political deals and film scripts are both negotiated over espresso. Cultural note: this avenue hosts the Bastille Day military parade every July 14th and has been the finishing line of the Tour de France since 1975. Let your camera capture the pace of Parisian life street performers, flower vendors, locals on lunch breaks, and global tourists all blending together. Take your time here. About halfway down, pause and admire the symmetry of Parisian design. Notice how the Haussmannian buildings align in harmony, with their uniform facades, wrought iron balconies, and pale limestone. Fun fact: Georges Eugène Haussmann redesigned much of Paris in the mid-1800s to improve hygiene, reduce congestion, and some say to make it harder for revolutionaries to barricade the streets. Here's a perfect moment to stop at a caf. Order a caf crème or a pain au chocolat and let the city surround you. These quiet interludes are what make Paris unforgettable. We now approach Place Clemenceau, named for the Tiger of France, Georges Clemenceau, who led the country through World War I. Surrounding us are the Grand Palais and Petit Palais, both built for the 1900 Exposition Universelle, a world's fair that showcased French innovation and artistry. Architecture. Note: the Grand Palais is famous for its steel and glass roof, a marvel of engineering, now used for contemporary art, Chanel fashion shows, and even fencing events in the upcoming Olympics. We now walk down Avenue Winston, Churchill lined with flags and ornamental lamps. It connects two political allies, France and the UK. A friendship solidified during the Second World War. And now we arrive at the Pont Alexandre III, truly the jewel of Parisian bridges. Built between 1896 and 1900, it honors Tsar Alexander III and marks a diplomatic alliance between France and Russia. Pause for views. Take your time across the bridge. Pan slowly over the Seine. Capture the Eiffel Tower in the distance. And zoom in on the golden-winged fames atop the pillar's film note. This bridge appears in movies like Midnight in Paris, James Bond, and even Ratatouille. Crossing the Pont Alexandre III, arguably the most beautiful bridge in Paris, built for the 1900 World's Fair. It was a gift from Tsar Alexander III of Russia, symbolizing Franco-Russian friendship. Take a look at the intricate details, the Art Nouveau lamps, gilded statues, and nymphs carved into the balustrades. Below flows the River Seine, lifeblood of the city and a source of inspiration for countless artists, poets, and lovers. Fun fact, this bridge is considered a historical monument and has appeared in films like Midnight in Paris and James Bond, A View to a Kill. As we leave the bridge behind, we transition onto Avenue du Marshal Gallieni, named after Joseph Gallieni, a French general and colonial administrator. The area around here is quieter, more local, letting us take a break from the tourist buzz. Crossing into the quieter Avenue du Marshal Gallieni, we step out of the tourist heart and into a more reflective zone of Paris. Named after Joseph Gallieni, a military hero of the early 20th century, this avenue leads us past Les Invalides, home to Napoleon's tomb, the Army Museum, and the Ministry of Defense. If you want to pause here, the Musée de l'Arme holds relics from France's military past, from medieval armor to post artifacts. We've now reached the rond-point du Bleuet de France, a roundabout named after the cornflower, the symbol of remembrance for France's war veterans, then revolutionaries and now diplomats. This flower grew in the trenches of WWI, much like the British poppy. The streets ahead are restricted use, meaning minimal car traffic and maximum calm. These roads were part of military administration grounds. You might hear distant drills or see guarded entrances. This is a good moment to slow down your pace, absorb the stillness, and notice the preserved classical structures. Fun fact, Paris has more than 800 classified historic monuments, many of which hide in plain sight behind unassuming courtyards and narrow alleys. And here we are, the French classical canons, nestled within a historical courtyard, usually missed by most tourists. These canons date back centuries, some as far as Louis XIV's reign, and were cast not only for battle, but also for ceremonial grandeur. Look closely at the engravings. You'll see fleur-de-lis, Latin mottos, and emblems of the Bourbon monarchy or the Republic. This is more than artillery, it's sculpture, storytelling, and nationhood in bronze. These cannons date back to the Ancien Regime and Napoleonic eras, serving as tangible reminders of France's centuries of warfare, defense, and technological innovation. Many of these cannons were cast in the 17th and 18th centuries. Some even used in battles that reshaped Europe. Educational note: some cannons are adorned with royal insignia or intricate inscriptions in Latin, a testament to the craftsmanship and symbolism of pre-modern artillery. First and second floors of the east and west wings of the Cour d'Honneur. Highlights suits of armor, from knights, nobles, and ceremonial use. Medieval swords, halberds, crossbows, and early firearms. Armor for horses and children, including richly decorated sets for royalty. Evolution of battlefield technology before the gunpowder age. Fun fact: some armor belonged to Francois and other monarchs, showing the craftsmanship and prestige of France's royal army. Welcome to L'Église Saint-Louis-des-Invalides, a hidden spiritual treasure nestled within the larger Hôtel des Invalides complex, and one of the most unique churches in all of France. Commissioned by Louis XIV and completed in 1679. This chapel was built not for royalty or nobility, but for soldiers. It served as a place of worship for war veterans, the very men who gave their bodies and lives in service to France. Notice the solemn elegance of the architecture. Designed by Jules Hardouin-Mansart, the same architect who worked on Versailles, the church reflects the classical French Baroque-style clean symmetry, grand columns, and restrained ornamentation. But unlike other Baroque churches of the time, here the emphasis isn't on opulence, it's on dignity, order, and remembrance. The long vaulted nave is filled with natural light, a space that once echoed with the prayers and songs of hundreds of disabled soldiers, many of whom sat here in silence, cloaked in their uniforms and memories. Above, the vaulted ceiling is simple yet soaring, lifting the eye toward heaven, reminding all who enter that even in war, there is faith and hope. At the far end is the grand organ, still used in occasional concerts and military ceremonies. And along the side aisles, modest chapels offer moments of reflection and quiet prayer. This is a church still in service not only as a house of worship, but as a memorial to the long and complex military history of France. Today, Saint-Louis-des-Invalides remains connected both physically and spiritually to the Église du Mai, which houses the tomb of Napoleon Bonaparte. But while the dome is grandeur and empire, this church is humility and humanity. It is here that soldiers once knelt, broken but proud. And it is here that we remember them not as conquerors or pawns of politics, but as men of courage, community, and quiet faith. As you stand beneath these arches, listen to the silence. It speaks louder than any sermon. One of the most moving elements here are the captured enemy flags, suspended above the central aisle. These battle trophies were once taken from foes during centuries of conflict, each one a symbol of victory, sacrifice, and loss. Fun fact, many of these flags were brought here after Napoleon's campaigns, and even after France's colonial wars. Some are faded, tattered, but their presence is humbling.